DDG episode 259. My name is Dave, and I'm joined by Michael.
Dave, how's it going? It feels like it's been a while. It's been kind of a slow video game time, but new games are coming, so we're recording.
yeah. Yeah, there's been a lot going on. You were out of town, I was out of town. Just crap. So, but also, like, I mean, we kind of just briefly talked about it before we started recording, but like, if it doesn't warrant or dictate an episode, like, we're not going to force something. So,
Yeah, I mean, it leads to episodes like this where we have a decent amount of things to catch up on. But if we were going to record 2 weeks ago, I think we had like one story to go off of,
yeah,
and it wasn't even a full story. It became a full story because we gave it time.
yeah.
But yeah, there's no need to force. It seems like the game industry in general is kind of like in a lull
It
right
is late
now.
April, early May, obviously, and like we are already seeing some stuff like potentially announced for June. Like there's a I think Microsoft said they're doing something in June. I know
Yeah, they're
we're
going
gonna
to do
get the
their E3
Keeleys.
spot.
Yeah, we're gonna the Summer Game Fest is gonna be right in the middle of June. The Summer Game Fest slash post COVID E3, whatever the hell you want to call it. Um, so a lot of that stuff is like, okay, are we gonna talk now, or are we just gonna wait till mid June when the video game industry sort of controls the what would you say, like a 10-day window in the middle of June?
Yeah, I wonder if part of the reason it's kind of quiet right now, May is usually late April or early May is when we would get leaks from E3. But I wonder if having Jeff Keighley just running things, with his small team makes it easier for things to stay under wraps
Yeah,
to where
I mean
stuff doesn't
potentially.
leak as much because it's not like this gigantic, conglomerate running E3, which is just like all the major publishers that have like crazy booths that they start building and like,
Yeah.
the billboards going up and all that stuff.
Yeah. So, all
But
right. So, if you're listening, you can. We are Digital Days Gaming. We are a podcast that posts when news dictates that we post. I'm not going to say a pattern or a routine or anything that we have right now because I feel like whenever I commit to that, something always gets in the way. So you can watch us on Twitch, twitch.tv/Digital Days Gaming, where you can link your Amazon accounts and your Twitch accounts. I'm sorry, and you can get something called Prime Gaming. You get a bunch of cool perks, as well as you can subscribe to a content creator of your choice. If you want to use that on us, that's helpful. It helps pay the bills a little bit, offset some stuff. Or you can subscribe to us directly, which I think costs like $9 a month now or something like that. So please, if you have Prime, use Prime. It's way cheaper. um, and
yeah.
you can also watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/Digital Days Gaming. You can subscribe to that channel. That's free. You can follow it. You'll get an audio version of the show if you want to listen to it that way. After the show posts, you can look at replays, past live streams, and watch the show whenever you want after we record, or you can watch us live on YouTube. So we do YouTube and Twitch at the exact same time, and then we post to pretty much every viable podcast service that I'm aware of. If for some reason you are listening to this and you had to find it on a different service and it's not one we use, join our Discord, which is linked in the show notes, and post in there. And I'm sure it'll be something either Michael, myself, or Angela will fix if there's a service that we don't know about. Leave us a review if you can. I know it's been a little bit of hit and miss with our schedule and stuff and with the way search engines work. But if for some reason you found the show, please consider joining the Discord. Tell us how you found the show. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't like. Join the community and just have interesting conversations when there's stuff to conversate about. And with that, everything else is linked in the show notes to direct you to the website, direct you to Discord, Facebook, social medias, all that fun stuff. And we're going to jump into a decent amount of news stories, actually.
Yeah, the first news story just hit today, kind of just done casually on Twitter as companies do. Call of Duty will be skipping last gen officially this year. So they basically just tweeted out that there is no PS4 version and Xbox One, though I think they haven't done an Xbox One version in forever. But basically, Call of Duty will not be coming to the PS4 this year. This is the first time in 12 years since the PS4 launched that there will not be a Call of Duty game. Obviously, this is good news for a lot of people that have felt that the old hardware was holding the games back. Though Call of Duty has plenty of other problems, but this is at least just one thing that they won't have to worry about. And it's just time moving forward. I honestly had to Google to see if Black Ops 7 even came out for the PS4 last year, and apparently it did. So they finally that means the PS5 must have hit that threshold number that like makes Activision feel comfortable to just skip that console completely. So yeah, time moves forward, Dave. It's been 12 years, 12 Call of Duty games have come out for the PS4.
Jeez, that's crazy to think. But I'm to no shock to anybody that's probably been listening to me even prior sites and podcast services. Cool, thank you. Please move on. Like, like I'm okay with this. Hopefully, it allows or it gives them the ability to do different things or do more things. And because we're talking about 5 full years for Xbox Series and PS5, like it's time.
Yeah.
So it's more than
Yeah.
time.
Probably longer than previous generations would have ran, to be fair, in terms of just like having the old generation supported. But it is time for that to go. I just I wonder if there is a magic number that they hit, or maybe development they looked at and were like, hey, this is going to be a real pain in the ass to keep pushing this on PS4 and Xbox One, which again, I don't even know. They didn't even mention Xbox One
Yeah.
in the tweet or whatever, but I just assume like there
Well,
was an Xbox One copy that was being developed.
yeah, I think it's just one of those things where they, especially Microsoft during the Xbox One to Series transition, kind of just started calling them Xbox. Like, and there
Mhm.
was plenty of stuff that was like, yeah, it's just gonna work. Like an Xbox game works on Xbox. Like, so I feel like
Mhm.
that they just kind of just dumped everything into one SKU, and then if you put it in a stronger system, allegedly it just did its own thing, similar to like what the PS5 Pro does and the PS4 Pro did. You didn't have to buy a Pro version of a PS4 game; it just did it. So I feel like that this is a similar situation where, at least on the back end, like whenever Xbox consoles read an Xbox Series or Xbox One disc, it just figures out which one it is and goes.
Yeah, and then on PlayStation it was a little bit more complicated because it'll just kind of give you options if the options were available, and then you can end up
Right.
playing the wrong version of the game. I wonder what this means for Warzone, because Warzone technically
Yeah.
still is on last gen consoles. I don't know what Warzone even is health wise as a game,
Isn't there a
but I
second version
imagine
of it though too?
it's its own version
Yeah, I
as
know,
far
but I
as I
thought
know.
that they did like Warzone 2 or something. I don't.
They might have, but either way, like it's still playable on the previous gens. I wonder if they'll kind of move away from that as well, or just relaunch it,
What
to something new.
What do you think the
Uh,
ratio of let's just use let's use 20 million copies. I know it's more than that or whatever. I don't know how many it is. But like let's just say, just for sake of this conversation, like it sells 20 million units on all platforms. What percentage of it do you think is physical versus digital?
for Call of Duty,
Yeah, specifically Call of Duty.
I would imagine we're probably teetering to like 70% digital,
Yeah.
maybe more.
Okay.
Like if you told me it's like 80%, I wouldn't be like completely shocked.
Okay.
For
Yeah.
digital
I
over
agree.
physical.
I would feel like it'd be on the higher end of the majority, because I also feel like the couple times that I've messed with Call of Duty or tried to, I mean, Game Pass or whatever, but even on PlayStation, I don't really feel like you actually like download Black Ops 7 or Black Ops. You just download Call of Duty, and then it
Yeah.
starts to dump in these other. It's like it's almost kind of like launching into like the Epic platform for Fortnite. When you open up Fortnite now, there's like Lego Fortnite. There's like Save the World, and there's Fortnite Battle Royale, and it's like it's almost like it's its own channel now, like in your on your systems.
Yeah, which if I remember correctly, has pissed off PlayStation fans because it messed with platinum trophies.
Yeah.
Because it's just like one big app. So either games don't have platinums or they just don't have as much trophies as they used to have.
Yeah.
So on PlayStation, because they try to go platform based, which I feel like they pulled back a little bit from the platform stuff, but it is still like if you download it, you're downloading
It
Call
just
of
does.
Duty.
It does whatever it wants. If you like start
Yeah.
downloading it, I'm like, I went in there one time. I'm like, what the hell? I was like,
Yeah, I think last time I checked into Call of Duty was like 2 or 3 years ago. I forget which one it was, but I remember I had to stop it because it was downloading the previous 2 Call of Duties
Yeah.
on my console, and I was just because I owned them and they were uninstalled, but they were getting reinstalled
yeah.
via that platform, because I guess it just read my account and was like, "Oh, you have access to all these games."
We're gonna suck your whole hard drive down. So,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, just destroy that 825 gigs or whatever it is on the PS5. So yeah, the time moving forward. We'll talk a little bit more about like time moving forward on this next story. So I was out of town because I went to Final Fantasy 14 Fan Fest with my wife and our friends. So Square Enix announced the new expansion for Final Fantasy XIV called Evercold. It's coming in January 2027. Uh, they introduced the trailer, showed a bunch of mechanics, quality of life changes. This is the first time I've gone to like a video game specific convention. So literally, it was just like it was where PSX was held in Anaheim.
Okay.
I think you went to an Anaheim PSX, right?
San Francisco's.
Or
So,
San Francisco. Okay.
yeah.
But I would imagine they had pretty big setup or
Yeah.
similar setup where there's like just like one half of the hall was like a conference room, and then the other half of the or a conference like a theater setting, and
Yeah,
then the other
yep.
half was demos. This was mostly the main attraction was like concerts at night, and then they just had like dev live letters throughout the day where they
That's
would just
cool.
have the devs sitting at the table and being like, hey, here are the quality of life changes. People would scream and cry over the most random like quality of life stuff. But during one of the first announcements, or like after they announced the expansion and then talked about platforms, they basically said the PS4 has 2 to 3 years left on it. They said they're going to be able to get the expansion out for PS4, but they said they are out of memory and they can't work to get more memory out of PlayStation or out of the PS4. So they said, you're good for, I think this patch is going to be 8.0 for the expansion. They're like, you're going to be good for 8.1, but you're not going to be good for 8.2, 8.3, which is going to be 2 to 3 years down the line. So they said, save up and buy a PS5 by then. So again, time moves forward. The PS4
would have been
version-
nice for them to maybe say this before the price increases, but I'm kidding because I don't
Right?
think they knew the pricing. Maybe they did, but
Yeah.
I mean, they probably already dictated their time frame of like,
Which is why the dev just said like save up now for
Yeah,
PS5.
so
'Cause it was like
I-
shit.
I like the essentially I don't play this game, but I like the 24 to 36 month warning shot.
Yes.
You know, in
They told you
comparison,
patch numbers you'll get.
Yeah.
Like they're like, hey,
in comparison, like
here's a patch.
sometimes you see like a game release or like an expansion or a sequel, and then you're like, "Where's the PS4 logo?" And they're like, "Oh, we're not talking about that." Like, where's the goddamn logo? Like, you know,
Yeah.
like
They're like,
sometimes they try
you'll-
to hide it. It's-
yeah, they're like, you can enjoy this expansion. It's
Yeah.
just the support for this expansion is where it's going to start waning. So it was nice that they did that, gave people a warning. They're at least including PS4 in this like first part of this expansion, so
Yeah.
there's at least that.
and then
The big
Yeah.
news.
Yeah, I was gonna
go
say
on.
I like the fact that I'm gonna steal a little bit of your bullet point, but like, hey, maybe if you can't buy a PS5, go buy a Switch too. And like,
Yeah. Yeah, this was the big thing for me.
Yeah.
Is they announced that the Switch 2 will be getting Final Fantasy 14. The subscription is going to be handled a little bit differently, and this was one of those funny things where they did the big reveal, went over all the quality of life changes for the keynote, and then the Square Enix CEO came out and delivered the Switch 2 news, which got like a really good, like almost standing ovation. And then the CEO had to be like, oh, but there's some caveats. And then this got kind of some boos, and some people
Yeah.
just like started to walk away from the keynote to go to like the show floor. And the news was first good news. It will not require Nintendo Switch Online in order to play the game. The bad news is it does require a standalone subscription for Final Fantasy 14 Online if you're playing on a Switch, which is technically kind of standard. But the big difference is on PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, you only needed one subscription to play on all those platforms as long as you owned the game on those platforms.
Okay.
The Nintendo Switch needs a standalone subscription on its own. So you
Ugh.
can't,
Okay.
you can't just use your one subscription to play on whatever platform you want. To offset this, Square Enix will give you a 50% discount on that subscription if you're subscribed on other platforms. So it's like instead of double dipping, they're only 1.5 dipping you. So that is like their thing. Apparently, this was a Nintendo thing
Yeah, I was
that
gonna
they
say
negotiated with Nintendo.
This is Nintendo saying, "Keep your shared ecosystem off my system."
Yeah, this is Nintendo being like, "Hey, if someone's going to subscribe, we want to get our cut
yeah.
for this."
Yes, I would agree. I would agree
took
with
the
the
room.
cut, and I would be curious if they talked about this. But will it support? Like, could you be playing on the Switch and your wife be playing on the PlayStation? You guys be on the same
Yes,
server?
it's fully. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I was
fully
gonna say
cross compatible.
this would have been, well, yeah, you can cross your character and your save over, but you can't cross play. Like
Yeah, no, it's just gonna be like an annoying thing because like right now, like my wife she'll play all of her raid stuff on PlayStation, but then
yeah.
she'll hop on our PC and then do like some like stuff that you can't do, like some
Yeah.
like
She set some macros up, lets it do some stuff while it's
no. What's funny though,
I'm kidding.
she doesn't do the macros on PC.
The
She just
little
does it for
bird,
more
like that little weighted bird
yeah.
that you can just have like swing down every 3 seconds and hit your keyboard. It's
She
like
she basically uses it for like G pose and
no,
like
I know.
taking photos and stuff like that because you get a little bit more
Yeah.
control. But she only needs to subscribe to the game once, and of course she bought the game on both platforms. But the fact that the Switch is just going to be like, hey, you need a separate platform. Square knows, and they did throw Nintendo under the bus. They're
Yeah.
like, hey, this is Nintendo that is making us do this, and we're lucky that Nintendo's allowing us to charge half price
Yeah.
if you need the second subscription. But it is funny though, just watching like the excitement just leave so many people's faces because there's a lot of people that are like, "Oh my god, I can do all the boring MMO stuff
Yeah.
on the Switch too,"
Yep.
and like
You
not
can,
have to
but
like
you got to pay.
yeah, you
So,
got to pay extra.
does it?
And then it also came out that the game's gonna barely run 30 frames per
Oh
second.
God.
So
Okay.
basically, people are like, "Oh, well, I'm not doing raids. I can't do
Yeah.
raids. I can't do dungeons on this." It literally was. It sounds like it's only meant to do the boring
I feel like I
stuff.
did some of that stuff with Switch anyways. Switch 1, like when I'd be playing Zelda or do even I think I played the I can't even think of the name right now, but the Zelda knockoff game from Ubisoft, Immortals, Phoenix Rising. There we go.
Yeah.
I think that I would do some open world stuff like in the handheld mode, and then I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go fight a boss. Okay, dock it, grab the controller, like
Mhm.
so. Like I could see that. Does Final Fantasy 14 allow any kind of offline playing at all?
Somewhat.
Offline play, like if you were not
No,
on
no, no. So
Wi-Fi.
it's fully
Okay. Yeah.
online. So it's one of those things where
I mean, I
uh
know a lot of the
I,
trains and buses now have, compatible Wi-Fi's, or public transportation, subways and stuff has better Wi-Fi. I was super impressed when I was in Toronto with the free Wi-Fi on the bullet train things or whatever they had.
yeah, it is just one of those things where like it would have been perfect even if you had poor internet to do some of the crafting
Yeah.
mechanics, do some of the fetch quest stuff. So like it was viable. They are going to do a free test in August that won't
Okay.
require any subscriptions. So I'm guessing that is how they're going to my wife
I don't
being
know
like,
what she
clearing
just said
Savage
there.
on the
Yes.
Savage is the highest raids you can
Oh,
do.
okay.
The amount of
Alright.
timing and mechanics in it are crazy. So you're gonna have people that are gonna be like, "Yo, I did that on the Switch too." With like, and they said they're trying. It's
Yeah.
gonna be a somewhat stable 30 frames per
Yeah.
second. So they already hit you of like it will drop lower than 30.
Some famous
Uh,
streamer is gonna stream it and be like, "World's first Switch 2 clear," or something like.
with Joy Cons.
Yes.
It's funny though because like I called it like halfway through the thing because they basically announced simplified controls that they're doing where they're going to get rid of some of the UI clutter for a new
Yeah, I was
control
gonna say.
system.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, this is either for the Switch 2 or this is for like the ROG
Yeah.
and like the Steam Deck."
That was gonna be like my recommendation. Like she's saying in chat that she's like, I was looking forward to laying on the couch. I'm like, the ROG exists. Like and
we were already kind of looking at it, but
Yeah.
the only problem we had is the UI is just too cluttered. But now
Yeah.
with this new system in place, it's going to cut down on the UI like by a
Yeah.
third. So like it is going to be more
I
accessible.
don't
on,
play
like, one of
mine
those PC.
enough, but I'm super impressed with my ROG. Like every time I like I gotta use this thing more. I'm like super impressed with it. So
Yeah, no, it sounds like it's moving in the right direction. Final Fantasy 14. The Switch 2 is just kind of a letdown. The expansion does
Yeah.
look cool, a lot of quality
Yeah.
of life stuff. I don't know if it's ever going to pull me back into that game.
right.
But honestly, the Switch 2 would have been something I would have considered. Like, oh,
Yeah.
I can catch up on some stuff. But
I tried it for a couple hours, I
subscription.
think. And I couldn't. I really tried. I think I don't know if I really tried, but I did try.
Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't expect that to click with you unless you got to the high end content. But that's
Yeah.
like 100-hour commitment before you
I've
get to that.
I've
stuff.
done stuff like that. I just don't know how much more of that I have in me anymore. So
Yeah. Well, no, I would imagine like you would have gotten into raids and dungeons, but again, it would have been 100-hour commitment before you
Yeah.
got to actually do the ones you wanted, and you
Yeah.
just don't have that time.
yeah.
But yeah, that was Final Fantasy 14. So again, expansion comes out in January. Switch 2 version comes out this summer with some tests in August
Okay.
for that. And he also announced like cross data center, party finder stuff. So definitely like they're making the right moves for like a player base that is probably shrinking at a consistent rate because it's been out for 10 years
Yeah.
to where they're like kind of expanding
Shrinking
the
or
different data
plateauing.
centers.
Minimum plateauing. Yeah.
And finding different ways to like, kind of keep staying afloat. Not that the game's struggling or anything like that, but it's been around 10 years. All right. The next thing was funny. This happened last week. PlayStation explains its new 30-day DRM. So there's a bunch of terms of services with the recent update for the PS5 and PS4 that caused a lot of controversy. And PlayStation did the thing where they probably didn't get in front of it fast enough. But basically, people found out that in order to maintain ownership of digitally purchased games, you do need to check in. Originally, people found this out and messed with like their time clock, and it made it seem like you needed to check in every 30 days in order to maintain ownership of your games. PlayStation came out probably like 3 or 4 days later and basically said like, no, it is a one-time check-in that you need to do in order to maintain ownership of your games. So basically sounds like you purchase a game on PS4 and PS5, and this applies to anything purchased as of like April 30th, I think, to where if you purchase a digital game and then you go offline, if you do not check in within 15 or 30 days, you just lose access to that license until the next time you pop up online. PlayStation did clarify you only have to do this once, so you don't have to do this every 30 days. Basically just means like you buy a game, make sure it checks in on a 15th or 30th day in order to maintain ownership after that point. And again, this is applying to all new purchases as far as I can tell. But yeah, digital future, very scary. Ownership is, just you don't actually own this stuff, but it is one of those things where there was a lot of panic online. And then when PlayStation actually explained it, it was like, okay, this isn't too bad. I mean, you're buying the game digitally, which means you do have an internet connection.
Right.
And you do get the ownership back, even if you were offline, for that first 30 days.
Yeah.
But as
So
soon
are
as
you saying you
check
just have
in
to
once,
essentially
you're
like restore your licenses, like it makes you do every once in a while when it freaks out, like where PS5
Yes.
freaks out less than PS4, but
Yeah.
or you lose power and it just lost its connect. It didn't. It was yeah. I mean, okay.
Yeah.
I've had to do that a couple
And it's
times.
once within the first 30 days.
Okay.
After that, you're good.
Ideally, if you're buying a digital game, you're playing it at least once every in the first 30 days of buying it. I mean, typically, unless you forgot that you pre-ordered something. Okay, like sure, yeah, they probably could have handled it a little better, PR optic wise. Maybe do a blog post that kind of like talks about like real world scenarios. I always hate when companies like try to talk above you. So I was seeing a little bit of this, and I was kind of like, I didn't want to dig too much into it. I'm like, let me see what Michael says on this, before I started like, because it was popping up on some of my YouTube feeds and stuff, and I was like, I was like what they were saying. I'm like, no, that can't be like.
Yeah, well, that like you said, that's a problem though. Where old PlayStation before the system updated or anything like that would tell you on the PlayStation blog. I forget what the guy's name was, but there was like two people. There was like a woman and a guy.
Sid Schumann, yeah.
No. Before that, it was like Eric Lampert or something like that, and
Yeah.
I forgot what the woman's name was. But they would do a PlayStation blog thing. It was like in the Rubinstein era.
Yeah.
And they would do a thing, be like, "Hey, tomorrow we're running this update," or "Hey, terms of services have updated." I think her name was Chen. It's bothered me now. But they would let you know beforehand, and now it just seems like stuff this happens, and then you get the internet, you get Reddit, you get YouTubers that just freak the fuck out, and then I already saw like petition.org stuff pop up within the first like couple hours of like a YouTuber discovering this and then messing with their fucking console time to change this. It just brought back a lot of stuff, to where the PS3 has what they call the CMOS bomb, where if your CMOS battery dies on your PS3, you're fucked. You just lose access to all of your games. Yeah, Bakasan on our chat said he freaked out. To where like the PS3 is still screwed. Like if your CMOS battery dies, you lose access to your your stuff, and it's kind of annoying to take the CMOS battery out of the PS3. PS4 had that issue. They patched it out, and then this is the newest DRM
Yeah.
on the PS4 and the PS5. But
I mean, I care and I don't care. Like, I mean, it's not gonna, it doesn't impact me directly. I try to listen to what everybody else does, but to you, like you said earlier, if you're buying digital anyways, like you have to have good internet to get digital anyways. And then the whole like, oh, I'm just gonna buy physical. Okay, cool. But if they turn off that, you can, you can buy physical Fortnite if you want to. If they turn off the servers, you ain't playing it anyways. You can buy physical Destiny. You can buy physical Call of Duty. And if they turn the servers off, you have a piece of plastic that's a coaster. So I can appreciate that. Like, you sure, like single player games or unpatched games, like we hear about all that stuff, or like all the way back to like, I got a PlayStation 4 that has PT on it. Cool, congratulations.
I have one, but it's dead.
Yeah.
So what the fuck am I gonna do with that?
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, like I get it, but it's just like super interesting. Where I was like, I mean, I immediately had flashbacks to like where like and the little bit that I saw, like I said, the little bit that people are like, oh, it's all right, it's 2026, like get with the program, and I'm like, Microsoft tried this like 8 years ago, and everybody lost their shit. Like,
oh, people were losing their shit. It's funny how
like,
Microsoft was just predicting the future.
They're like, oh, what if the PSN goes down? You can't play your digital game anyways. It's like,
yeah.
Like,
yeah, and again, it's like I don't want to.
If the PSN is down, you can't play your physical game if it requires you to go online. FYI.
Well, if it's an online game,
yeah,
that's the thing.
I can't play Uncharted 4. Like, I mean, I probably could.
You can.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, PlayStation has done a pretty good job of actually putting a game on the disc.
Yeah,
it might not be the most patched version of the game.
Right.
So like physical owners are still pretty safe. I didn't care too much because again, I know the reality of when I buy a digital game.
Right.
I am not under any false pretense that I actually own this game. So like when they're like, oh, the DRM checked, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm buying most of my games physical anyways, as long as they're on disc. Though there are some games that aren't on disc, even though they're a physical copy.
Yeah, like Arkham Game of the Year edition. Like, oh, you had Batman 1 on there, but 2, 3, and 4 are digital, buddy.
I have a physical copy of the Spyro Reignited trilogy.
Yeah.
The second and third game aren't on that fucking disc.
Right.
And it's just like, so it's not like the full trilogy.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where like I understand what I'm purchasing and know that like, hey, this copy of Saros that I got on Friday, I got the digital edition. Because it was that 50% off thing that I told you about with Cash App. So I got the digital edition of it, even though I probably would have got physical if I didn't have a deal on PSN. But I know like, hey, if I don't have the internet for 30 days, then I'm probably not playing that fucking game. And it didn't freak me I didn't freak out.
But you're not gonna. But in that situation, if you don't have the internet for 30 days, okay. So let's. Okay,
it's a single player game.
I get what you're saying. So like, now I'm following you better. So you buy this game on April 1st, and you don't pay. I'm not saying you, but you don't pay your internet bill. So your internet bill gets turned off April 2nd. You have until May 2nd to get your internet back on. Otherwise, you lose access to the game until you get your internet back on and it can verify your license. Okay. Yeah, that's
which could, it's a rare instance, and it does suck if that does happen to someone, and it probably will happen to some people at some point.
But to that point,
or they move.
Yeah, you move. Yeah, but to that point, when you either get your internet back on or freaking take your PlayStation to a library and get your internet back on, like take it to McDonald's.
And it's just a check-in. It's not like you're downloading anything.
So,
it's just like,
I mean,
I hit PSN and restore licenses probably pops up.
Tap on your neighbor and be like, bro, can I borrow for 30 seconds, please? Like,
the hotspot to your phone, it takes up like a couple megabytes, and you're just like, okay, there's your data plan.
I mean, okay, I get it, but for you to think that, I guess in 2026, for you to think that you can buy something digitally and then just like, oh, I'm gonna have internet for a day, or I'm gonna do my 14-day trial, and then for my internet, I'm gonna buy a bunch of digital games, and then get pissed off when I can't play my digital games on the internet when I'm not validating that I have it. Okay, I get.
Well, I mean, the instance that killed Don Matic with the Xbox One is, I think Jeff Keighley hit him with the response of like, hey, soldiers will take their consoles with them overseas, and they might not have internet. And then Jeff Keighley or Don Matic was just like, well, we have an Xbox 360 for them. And that was like, that's like an instance where it's like, man, that does suck. But for like 99% of the people that are like complaining, they're complaining on Twitter. You know,
Right.
they're complaining on Reddit, they're complaining on YouTube comments. It's like, you have the internet, you'll be fine. It is going to affect like a portion of the player base, but not to the point where people are screaming. I still want them to fix the PS3, but the PS3 is probably
Yeah.
getting shut down this year. But you know, that they won't do that. But then
Yeah.
I'll
So
probably just jailbreak it,
uh,
and it'll be their fault.
it's a big deal, but I don't think it's as bad as people are making it out to be.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it still sucks because we are basically me and you are accepting like our rights are not existent in terms of like our ownership. It doesn't really fully exist on there,
Yeah.
but there's no really good alternative. These companies aren't going to change. So it's either like, hey, stop buying shit, or like
Yeah, I just think
go
that
play
there's
your old
probably
consoles.
a silent minority of people that are bending the rules that they're seeing, and they're trying to circumvent them. I mean, like, I'm at the point, like, full disclosure, I'm at the point where I'm getting frustrated with some of my television and streaming services, where I'm stretching it as far as I can stretch it. I'm trying to help my older kids out. I'm trying to help my mom out. I'm trying to, like, where it's like, okay, I don't like, okay, I can do DirecTV. I can do it up to 4 devices, like, okay. And then, every once in a while I go to get into Hulu and it kicked me out because they got signed into 2 different households somewhere else. And it's like, we want to verify. And I get irritated and annoyed with that for that 5 minutes that because of course I'm like, I'm on lunch. I want to watch something, click. Oh, I can't. Like, oh, it's like I have to sign back into ESPN Plus to watch, one of my shows. And I'm like, gosh, and, I get frustrated in that moment. But then when I stop and think about it for a second, I'm like, okay, I'm doing, I think the people that might be the more frustrated about this are people that are potentially game sharing.
Yeah, it would affect them.
Yeah.
Potentially. Yeah.
So, and I think that for the most part, with some of the changes and stuff that they've been making over time, they've realized that this has become a little bit more pronounced. With like, I think Disney Plus has been cracking down, and Netflix has been cracking down on password sharing and those things. And I'm sure that this is happening. Like, they're seeing the same, because I'm sure that they can see, like, Soros digital license 1282 has now been signed into 3 or 4 different PlayStations. Like, what's going on here? Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's some data that they can see that, and they're like, okay, you can do what you do, but you got to do it through our hoops now.
Yeah, and that's basically what it does. The only problem is with like the companies doing this crackdown and fighting back. In my case, like all the streaming services making you like, oh, only this household can get it, or oh, hey, we're moving this part of the library for a little bit.
Yeah.
It's leading me to buying more physical media, either
Yep.
on the used market or that, just because I end up watching reruns a lot on these streaming services. So I'm like, I'll just own it. But it is also leading to some portion of the audience that are more inclined to pirate. And it has
Yeah.
been proven that like a good chunk of the people that do, not a good chunk, but there are people that do pirate, that if you give them an easy means to acquire it legally, they will acquire it legally. But if you give them a reason not to do that,
Yeah.
they will pirate. And of course, there are people that just pirate stuff that you can do whatever you want and they're still going to pirate.
Yeah.
But it does lead to maybe a couple more people Google searching, like, how do I jailbreak a PS4?
Yep.
How do I jailbreak a PS3? And then they end up losing some sales that way. So
I think
it's,
that's where
you know,
we see a lot of remakes for games come sometimes. You're like, huh? There's a ton of
Mhm.
rumors right now this year of an Ocarina of Time Switch 2 remake. Like, tons and tons of rumors. And I'm wondering if they're seeing tons of emulation of Ocarina of Time on other stuff. Like, so like, okay, well, fine. If you're gonna do all this, then we're gonna do it better, and we're gonna charge you for it. Like,
Yeah.
you
But
know,
they also see like what the physical used market sales are,
Yep.
to where they do look up those Zelda games and are like, why the fuck is this 30-year-old game going up 3 times the cost it cost back then? And they're like, we want a chunk of that. And
Yep.
then they're like, well, let's remake it or re-release it.
Yep.
Like, that's why we saw Pokemon
Yeah.
Red and Green pop up, or Blue. I forget which one it
Yeah.
was, but we saw Pokemon pop up on a Switch 2 and they charged $20. People were like, what the fuck? That's crazy. But then they're like, hey, you guys are buying those old cartridges for like $100 right
Yeah.
now.
It's
And we're
happening. It's
charging you
happening with
20.
sneakerheads. Like, you're seeing
Mhm.
tons of variant shoes, Coach bags, all those things. Like, and there's all of a sudden they see like a high demand. I think it's hilarious that somebody's like, sometimes you hear about, like, you guys know I collect sneakers, but like, you'll see somebody wearing something like, those aren't out yet, and then Nike comes out and be like, yeah, they're not. So
Mhm.
and then Nike's like, okay, well, this got enough traction. All right, now we're gonna do it, and we're gonna do it in like 6 months. And we're gonna do something different or something cool with it or something. And it gets me. Like, I think I've bought a certain pair of Jordan 9s like 3 different times, like once in 2000, once in 2013, and once again now. So they get
Yeah.
beat up, they get worn, you know. Like
You wear your sneakers?
I
Crazy.
do, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
You
getting a
probably
little bad
hurt
now that I'm
people
starting
that
to get. I had to buy clear cases so I can start seeing what I have, like seeing, not just seeing the back of them. Like, oh, I
Yeah.
forgot about that color scheme. So
You're just like, oh, I spent money on no shoes, but I don't wear them because they're in a box and I don't look at them and remember they exist.
yeah.
Is that where your collection is?
No, it's going. I take all my. I take a. Well, I'm still working on it, but I've been taking a bunch of them out of the original shoe boxes and putting them in like clear stacking boxes so I can see them. So
No, what I'm saying is your collection getting so big to where you're like, oh, I forgot I had those because it's just in a box.
I
that,
don't
like,
forget what I
see.
have, but I don't do a good enough job of trying to intentionally wear something. That's all.
Okay.
So
So it hasn't gotten to the crazy level yet. All right. Next story. Shuya Yoshida confirms he was fired by Jim Ryan. So while speaking at Alt Games Festival, former president of Worldwide Studios at PlayStation said that he was fired by Jim Ryan. The statements were made while Shuhei was apparently upbeat, jovial, when he said the following. He said, I helped Santa Monica to make God of War, Naughty Dog to make Uncharted and The Last of Us, Sucker Punch to make Ghost of Tsushima. Ghost of Tsushima was one of the last games that I worked on as president of Worldwide Studios, but in 2019, after 11 years of leading first-party development, I was fired from that role. Jim Ryan wanted to remove me from first party because I didn't listen to him. He asked me to do ridiculous things, and I said no. Shuhei had previously kind of said something similar to this back last year, where he said he was basically forced to move from first party Worldwide Studios to the indie side of PlayStation because he was resisting the live game service push that Hermen Hulst currently has found himself in. Basically saying that if he was in Hermen Hulst's position, he would have fought back a little bit more against live service stuff. Basically saying it isn't Hermen's idea to do live service. Hermen Hulst is just being put into a position where he has to agree to live service stuff. This kind of set like the PlayStation community ablaze when this was revealed. Like I want to say 2 weeks ago. There is a portion of the audience said that he was very upbeat, like happy when he was saying this. So there some people that are like, oh, he might have been kind of joking. But the fact that he's been basically like leaving little bits of his reason of leaving over the last like year or so seems like this is likely very true. But Dave, I feel like we had arguments with other people about like how PlayStation is currently going. And I would say that we were pretty damn near right on a good chunk of this stuff.
yeah, if I had to guess, talking about stuff that I've learned about through some of the sports market and some radio stations closing and people like losing their jobs and stuff like that, like media wise, and I would think that like PlayStation would kind of fall into the similar umbrella. If I really, really had to guess right now, Shuhei Yoshida's non-compete contract is expiring.
Yes,
his
or
N-
has.
or his
And-
NDA is expiring or is now becoming null and void. Especially for him to speak, like because I believe since you put this in quotes, this is a quote that he said. So this is not
Yes.
somebody like thinking or subtexting what he said. So
No translation here. This was
yeah,
like actual what he said. Yeah.
So I think that some things are expiring. So like we're looking at potentially a 5-year, 6-year window of where they thought, like sometimes that lets cooler heads prevail, like as they've had time to think about things. We're like, yeah, well, my time wasn't great leaving, but I respect everything that everybody did there, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, it's still affecting Shuhei. And I think, it doesn't hurt that Jim Ryan's not there. So for him because now I also don't think Jim Ryan will come out and dispute any of this either, because I think he's kind of just walked in it. To be fair, he's probably underneath a tighter NDA and a longer one.
Yeah.
So I guess immediately what popped in my head though is we genuinely think that Hermen Hulst is Dead Man Walking, right?
I feel like he is just there to clean up the messes that not necessarily he created, but the messes he oversaw that Jim Ryan.
Do you think there's like, I'm just gonna throw like a crazy hypothetical thing out there, but do you think that there's somebody on Sony's board or in power at Sony that's gonna be like, once like some of this dust and crap cleans up, where Hulse does, cleans up whatever Ryan did or Ryan told him to do, blah 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 blah, where they have a potential of like, where they go, somebody high powerful in Sony's above PlayStation's board, like takes Shuhei and Layden out to lunch and says, okay, what would it take? Like, do you feel like that there's a point in time where they're going to be like, what role do you want? Like, we need to kind of go back to where we were in like 2017, 2016. Not all the way back, but like we need to like to where they would like the Sony PlayStation fans would lose their shit if Layden walked onto a stage.
Or Jack.
Yeah.
If Jack came back.
Yeah.
No, so like I honestly wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. So first off, I imagine Shuhei didn't say anything why Jim Ryan was CEO out of respect to PlayStation.
Yeah.
Because he's like, this was his family, and as soon as Jim Ryan had been let go, fired, retired, whatever you want to say, that was Shuhei being like, so now I'm not disrespecting PlayStation if I talk some shit.
Yeah.
I'm disrespecting Jim Ryan, and I wouldn't be surprised if someone at PlayStation said like, hey, you can talk shit about Jim, just don't talk shit about us.
Right.
And then he's like, cool, that's where my beef lies.
Yeah.
Because from people we've talked to, like I talked to some people at PlayStation back in the last E3, the last two E3s. I talked to people there in different studios and stuff like that, and you heard stuff as well. There was a problem at PlayStation where they went, we're going to have the heads of SCEE, the Europe division, take over. And that's why Layden got kind of pushed out, because they basically were like, hey, we're pushing out the SCEA folks, and we're going to go with SCEE, the European division, and took it over. And that already, Dave's laughing for reasons. But basically, Sony America kind of became number one. Japan became number two. And then when Europe kind of took over, it pushed Japan to the bottom of the tier list in terms of how they structure things. And now I think we're hitting a phase where they're like, hey, we ran the course with Europe. It didn't work out, so we either might return to SCEA times, or we're just going to go back to being more Japanese focused, which is why the current CEO is one of the people at Sony, at PlayStation in Japan, because they're like, hey, the Europe thing worked. We were really successful with it, but we either need to go back to the America time, or we need to go back to the Japanese time. Yeah. And I think that's where they're kind of heading with that.
I agree.
Where like they might not go back to Sean Layden and Jack Tretton, but they are going down like to maybe build up to where the Japanese part is more important, or at least running things.
Yeah, and the European studios have been protected a lot.
Yes, and a lot of them were acquired.
Yep.
During that time, because Jim Ryan and Herman Hulst were like, we work with these people, we see them frequently, acquire them, and then PlayStation current CEO Todoroki has just been having Herman close those studios.
Yeah. But Media Molecule has some Teflar armor going on right now, like in terms of
now.
Yeah, and then I would argue like Guerrilla, like we need to hear. I mean, I know that they're in partnership with that other game, that MMO style like Horizon game, but there's got to be a point in time where we start even like at this point in time, I would take a job listing, but they've got to be working on Horizon 3, like.
Yeah,
or the Horizon franchise, because now if you see a job listing for the Horizon franchise, is it for Horizon 3? Is it for Horizon? What is it called? Horizon Rising? Like I can't even remember what that.
I forget what it is. Yeah,
but it's like that's not Guerrilla. Like it's like it's just not Guerrilla. It's not what the pedigree that they've come to acquire. And Media Molecules protected. Housemarque is European as well.
They are
Turkish,
but they've had Finn, Swedish.
Okay.
I'm bad at Europe. Yeah. But they had a successful game during like post pandemic, and they released a game relatively quickly.
Yeah. I mean, we've had Saros just came out, and then
Returnal was 2021, 2022.
Yeah. So I mean, 2 games since the pandemic
comparatively
is a gold standard in this gaming market now.
They're Europe's Insomniac.
Yeah.
No, but I wonder when you mentioned Media Molecule.
Yeah.
Hopefully they stick around. But Media Molecule was signed under the Shuhei reign, the
Yeah.
Shuhei Andrew House reign.
Yep.
Maybe Phil Harrison was there. So like there's a chance that they look at Media Molecule of like, hey, you're from the good era, and
Right.
we want to get back to that. We'll give you another shot. The last two CEO or the last CEO didn't really
Yeah.
care about you.
It's kind of what we've
Uh,
talked about. And we hope, though, that Phil Spencer was doing with Activision, or Phil Spencer was doing, or Xbox, I guess now, was doing with Activision or doing with Bethesda. Is there a certain point in time where somebody, whether it's Trenton or Layden or Shuhei or somebody, some new up and comer that we don't know, that's thinks similar to them and goes to Media Molecule and says, "How about you just go to Sackboy, go back to Sackboy and do your thing?"
yeah.
Like
Or just like, hey, we have some old platformers
yeah,
potentially somewhere. Like, hey, Naughty Dog doesn't have time to do Jack and Dexter.
yeah.
What can you
Here's
do with that?
what can you do with Sly for us? Like like
Yeah. Can you bang out like a
yeah.
platformer game? Even though they're built for the play, create, and share thing, but it's like maybe they're helping with fair games or whatever. Who knows? uh, that's going to be so interesting if Fair Games ever sees the light of day, because that is like I feel like that is the last
Well, we
like
have
Jim
to
Ryan Herman
like
Hulse game.
I don't and we're gonna I mean I know it's May 4th right now, Star Wars Day and all that fun stuff. But when we're recording, but like I feel like before Memorial Day in the US, in the United States, so like late May, they
May
have to say
3rd.
something about a state of play, right? Like in June,
Yeah,
like or
yeah.
a showcase.
They
Like
have to have something.
they have to do something. Now they're typically, I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're usually like after Summer Game Fest.
So I think they're either the week before or week after.
Yeah,
It's like they're never the week of.
because like
They
I mean,
usually
right off
get
the
it in.
bat, like we have to see more Wolverine, like because we already have the date, so
Yeah,
we
Wolverine
have to see
September.
more.
Yeah.
So that would be the start of the show or the end of the show, and
Intergalactic.
yeah, more maybe, and but
A
like
little bit.
ultimately, like they've got some things that they need to answer. Like they're okay. Like I mean, I feel like Sony's in good shape to say Wolverine's our fall game, and we're good. Like in terms of like but we need a little nugget, something over the summer. Like something needs to come out in July, August. I think that Shadow Drop something. I don't know.
They
But
have nothing to shadow.
I
Drop,
know,
Dave.
but then like they gotta like show something in June that has a February or March date, right?
I think they do. I feel like if you do a showcase, you give us a window for Intergalactic.
Holiday
Like if
27.
it's a showcase,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, but you at
Yeah.
least say you put a year on it, you put
Yeah.
a season.
But they
on
gotta
it.
they gotta show they gotta talk about something with winter 27 or how like February, March, April. Like they gotta show something in June that's gonna, I don't know what it is. Like
Well,
um,
I imagine Wolverine, since we know that from the Insomniac leaks they were looking at doing like different X-Men games after Wolverine.
yeah.
So I imagine we don't get anything from Insomniac except the teaser at the end of Wolverine, like a post-credit scene. So we won't hear anything about Insomniac.
Do we get an Uncharted remake, like an Uncharted 1 remake that's coming in
That's a
February or
current
March?
rumor.
Or is it
That's a
Uncharted
current
5?
rumor. No, the current rumor is they are remaking Uncharted 1.
Yeah.
I want to say Bend might be the ones
Okay.
that are remaking it, which is just funny that like you
Well,
had Blue Point who could remake a game
yeah, they
like
did.
no one
They
else.
did Golden Abyss though on the Vita, so I
They
mean,
did, they
yeah.
did. But it just seems like Bend is one of those companies where it's like you were definitely a legacy
Yeah,
studio.
we need to dedicate a show to some form of prediction or guessing. Not predictions, I hate that, but some form of conversation about what we want to see in June. Because
Yeah, or
like,
we just need to go. We need to do the thing we talked about last time, where we go down studio by
yeah,
studio of what we want and what our expectations
PlayStation
are.
and Microsoft at this point. So
Yeah,
okay.
Nintendo would be impossible because they don't
Yeah.
have their studios.
You know what? If I get a Wolverine and an Ocarina of Time remake and something else this fall, cool. Like
The scary thing is they announced what Santa Monica's working on, which is the God of War trilogy remake.
but they were
But they said we
very,
just
very
started.
poignant to say this is early. Like
Yeah,
they were
but
very
the fact
purposeful.
that means we're done with Santa Monica for this generation. Probably.
Yeah, but where's Barlog's game though? Because we heard that Barlog moved on to something else in Santa Monica. So where's Barlog's game? Like, did he get a chance to bring his sci-fi thing back? He's been very quiet, but he still works for Sony Santa Monica. So where is his game?
but are they still big enough to be a
I
studio
know.
game?
I'm
You know,
I'm with you, but do they need
are
like
they ending the generation? Are they ending the PS5 generation and they'll come out in 4 years with their game?
that would be
Like,
a long time because he didn't work on Ragnarok that much from what we heard because he was working on this other one.
no, he just did like light story stuff. I think
Yeah,
like
so I mean we're a long way. Ragnarok was a PS4 game. So-
yeah, yeah. Ragnarok was on a PS4.
yeah.
Was
So
it? Yeah,
it came.
that's
I mean,
crazy.
it was both, but
Yeah,
it was built for the PS4 and then upgraded for the PS5. So yeah, like there's a lot, like, and it's just
Especially when Sucker Punch is done this gen,
yep,
because Yotai just came out last year.
yep.
Bend, we don't know. They closed Blue Point. Media Molecules on the fence.
Gorilla's
To your
hovering
point,
around something. So
Yeah, Gorilla's hovering around, but they're a co-developer on that.
yeah,
Which
sorry,
unless
they
you're
remaking a
helping,
Killzone, like
yeah. We would have to go through the list of studios, but it's just like Insomniac can only carry so much.
yeah,
And especially if Insomniac's going to just become like, hey, we just do the comic book games,
Yep.
like that could end up backfiring on them in terms of just like no,
yeah. I
not
mean,
that they'll make bad games. It just there would be no excitement around. What
we
they're
could go down a
making.
whole rabbit hole. I'd have to start doing some digging. Like, where's the Black Panther Captain America game? Like, where's the date on that? Like, Henny's
Oh yeah,
game.
well, the holiday 2026.
Yeah, I know. Like, cool. But we still got GTA 6 hovering around over people's head too. Like, so
November 16th.
no, I
still,
know, and
think,
they've kind of come back and say it's gonna stay, it's gonna stick. But they still haven't talked about any kind of online or transition. Like, and they're not known to talk during E3 timeframe either. Like, I do not expect somebody from Rockstar to go sit on the couch with Keeley. Like, that's not gonna happen.
No, I think they like last time for Red Dead 2, I think there was a trailer 2 weeks before E3.
Yeah.
And it was just like, oh, you guys didn't
But
even want to give anyone the
I-
satisfaction of having your trailer.
Yeah, but I still feel like they have to do like a fireside chat and talk about this because this is GTA 5 to 6. Like, that has to be a focal point of conversation. Like, and I don't
Funny
think
thing
that
is
could
they
be a
don't really
blog
have
post.
they don't really have that blog post sort of like
know, platform.
community.
Yeah.
And they don't have like a face of community
Yeah.
relations. So it would be them hiring random celebrity to go
Yeah.
over GTA Online and seeing how that goes.
Jason Momoa.
They did hint.
I'm here to talk to you about GTA 6 transition.
They
John Cena.
they did have a recent financial call. It'll probably be Samuel Jackson. They did have a financial call where they did basically say like, we think the price for GTA 6 is going to be worth it to fans, which probably
$100.
guarantees like 80. It guarantees like $80-$100 like price point for that. They'll probably just copy Mario Kart at $80
Whew.
and just go for there. But people will buy it, no hesitation. So
Yep.
they might as well try it. And if you don't want to do it, don't buy it at $80. You know, like vote with your wallet, though we know no one will be able to do that. But yeah,
Speaking of voting
PlayStation's
with
a
your
mess.
wallet,
yeah. PlayStation's a mess. Xbox is a bigger mess, but they are making changes. So the new head of Xbox is making some drastic changes to Game Pass and plans and talks about changes for the future of Xbox. So Asha Sharma has gone ahead and dropped the price of Game Pass Ultimate from $29.99 to $22.99. PC Game Pass is now $13.99 instead of $16.49. This feels like a true, what is the lowest amount we can drop this without burdening ourselves, because $22.99 and $13.99 are not like sexy numbers.
yeah,
Usually they want like rounder numbers, very specific numbers that like look nice on like a gift card.
$19.99.
Yeah. But instead it's $22.99 and $13.99. But those are big drops. Those are significant drops for Game Pass. Asha Sharma on her like first day basically said like Game Pass is too expensive and it's kind of getting away from what it became. To compensate for these changes, they also announced Call of Duty will be removed from a day one release on Game Pass after the previous Call of Duty or Call of Duties proved to not increase the subscriber numbers enough. So it looks like Call of Duty wasn't pulling people in. Call of Duty still sold well-ish, though the last one didn't sell greatly. But it looks like most people are just used to buying Call of Duty, so they weren't interested in getting a subscription in order to get their game. They just bought their Call of Duty. So Call of Duty will no longer be day one on any Game Pass subscription tier. They did not rule out more changes coming to Game Pass, so they are going to probably be looking for different ways to either tighten things up, get rid of some of the tier stuff, and just figure things out from there. As for the future of Xbox, the Asha Sharma has said multiple times that she is going to look at exclusivity and see if it's worth releasing all their games on multiple platforms, or if they want to go back to just having games be exclusive. It seems like they are determined to push Xbox as a brand again, whether it's standalone consoles or just their platforms in general. During a recent financial call, the year-on-year decline across all facets, hardware, software, and subscriptions was down anywhere from like -5 to like negative like 18% on some instances. And that's year over year of a previous year where they were down percentages already.
Yeah.
So hardware, software, subscriptions,
losing
Xbox
on top of
struggling.
losing is not good.
Yes. Continuing to lose on top of losses
Yep.
is never good, which shows you why Xbox was looking to make a change and get rid of the people they got rid of. But Dave, Game Pass subscription dropping, I think that's a win for most people. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's enough to get me back,
Yeah.
but
Well, I think that they would get you back if there's enough enticing platform or games on the platform for you to play.
Mhm.
That's the easiest way to get somebody to get somebody to resubscribe. I'm not shocked that like I said it was a coin flip. I feel like a long time ago when this purchase happened. We know, like I mean, the data shows us that there's a ton of people that buy NBA 2K and Call of Duty, or buy Madden and Call of Duty, or buy NCAA and Call of Duty, and that's their gaming. Like that's what they do, and that's totally fine. They buy consoles, they buy games, and they move on. Now those players are starting to get to the similar age of me, where they're getting into their mid 40s, and life is changing. Like the time and where things are coming from, and what's stretching your wallet, or maybe their kids are getting older and their kids are teenagers and they're taking up more of the time. Like as like those things are changing, and like to your point, like we've been talking about, we're not seeing a huge, I mean, I haven't seen like metric data, but we're not seeing a huge influx of quote unquote new gamers, they are playing Call of Duty, they're playing Fortnite, they're playing Roblox, they're playing Minecraft, they're playing, like those things are changing a little bit. And eventually we saw the Call of Duty decline, and you can go back, and I'm sure there was a game, we saw the Halo decline, and it kind of stopped. I'm not saying Halo is on par with Call of Duty, but maybe at one point in time it was. So to see this and to try to make sure you can continue and maintain, I think is cool. Evaluating exclusivity when your system is called a Helix, your new alleged system is called a Helix, and merging PC and consoles together, like I think your toothpaste is too far out of the tube and you're not going to be able to put it back. So I don't know, we've talked about this for years, they're in that rough place. Like if we get a new Fallout, like it has to be on PlayStation, right?
Unless they want to take the gambit, like they want to, like
Yeah.
this also brought in a lot of the Pete Hines stuff. Where
Yeah.
I don't know if we talked about the last episode, but Pete Hines did an interview too, where it seems like his NDA is out,
Yeah.
and he basically talked about being pissed the fuck off
Yeah.
about like pitching exclusivity and then having Microsoft go opposite direction,
Right.
or pitching not being exclusive and then Xbox going the opposite direction of this him not having control of it. I don't know what the answer is going to be for Fallout, because I just don't know where the state of Xbox is going to be when the time comes.
I'm just using Fallout as an example. You can
No,
insert game
but
name anywhere, so.
No, but in general, it's kind of hard to tell where they want to be and where they are right now.
Yeah.
Because if you do want to rebuild into a physical console platform, you will need to take a shot and be like, fuck it, you can only play Elder Scrolls 6
Right.
on
Or
this
the
platform.
or the next Diablo. Like
Yeah. I mean, Elder Scrolls 6 is the next
Yeah,
up
you're
from
right. I'm
Bethesda,
sorry. Yep.
technically. So like it would be like, hey, if you do really, you will piss people off, but at a certain point, I mean, it sounds bad. I mean, sports teams do this all the time. You take
Yep.
advantage of your fans.
Yep.
Like
you
like, hey,
release Elder Scrolls 6 and it's PC or Xbox only. And there's the crowd that's not. I'm not a PC gamer. I play games on my couch, and I'm not judging anybody when I say that. I'm just using it as an example. And they're an Elder Scrolls fan. They're not going to be happy about it, but they're gonna get the Xbox. Like they
Yeah,
will.
you basically do loyalty tests to
Right.
your fan base of just like, hey, do you really care about us? And then most of the fans will probably be like, yeah.
We saw it happen when Call of Duty 4 or when they switched in the Xbox 360 to Xbox One and PS3 to PS4 thing, when Sony went up there and put the Activision logo up there and put the Call of Duty 7-day early access, whatever the hell it was, on PlayStation, and as much as people are going to roll their eyes, and they put Bungie's logo and said PlayStation, like those were the platforms that people were like, well, damn, I guess I got to buy a PlayStation because I want to play Bungie's next game, and I want Call of Duty I want the 6-hour early access, and it showed that it worked. So yes, like Elder Scrolls 6, Fallout, whatever, Diablo, whatever. Like if it's gonna not be on PlayStation, then you need to go buy an Xbox.
And I think one thing that I think we've definitely have done this too, where maybe we take two into account, or people take two into account, like, or overblow when they do see Forza Horizon pop up as number one on PlayStation for a month, or Indiana Jones popping up as number one for a month. If your Xbox, if it's only popping up for a month, is it really worth it if it just drops off the top 10 chart after that 30 days are up to port the game over, even if it is one of your bigger games?
Right.
To where like they could be like, you know what, it actually isn't worth the extra couple 100,000 sales that we're going to make. I would rather, they would be like, I'd rather sell 10,000 more consoles than 100,000 more units of a game. Because at least they're in the ecosystem. And I think when it comes to exclusivity,
we know software equals hardware sales. Software is what makes hardware sales. We know that. Like that's proven. Ask Nintendo every hardware generation. Like if they don't have the software,
and the ratio is not going to be 1-to-1.
No,
like
I think a fantastic ratio is like 1-to-8. Like that's an amazing ratio. Like I think they said Mario Kart was like a 1-in-8, and that was like absurd. Everybody else, I think, like I feel like somebody's told me before 1-for-27 is like you're dominating or something like that.
Yeah, and they would rather take the hit in the software if that means they can get some people on the console.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to Xbox exclusivity, they're still going to count PC because PC's Windows. Yep. So they're still going to be like, hey, this is a platform we're willing to support. It's a bigger market than both combined, PS, PlayStation and Xbox.
And the consumer is just confused anyways. The consumer, there's so many people that are like, I can't believe I can't play my Xbox Series games on my ROG Ally. It's an Xbox ROG. Like, no, it's a computer with an Xbox logo.
And I think they are going to tighten that up as much as they can, and seeing they have been making strides for that. I just think now the exclusivity, when they're talking about that, when Asha Sharma is talking about that, it's like, hey, PlayStation, we're talking about PlayStation. Is it worth it for that? I don't think that means they're going to remove like a Minecraft from PlayStation, because that's like, there's never going to be a Minecraft 2 because it's an impossible game to make. So that'll stay.
But Fallout
when
5
it comes to sequels,
will be a real conversation. Elder Scrolls 6 will be like, I don't even, have they said Elder Scrolls 6 yet, or they just keep saying next Elder Scrolls?
No, they had a trailer at the last E3 we were at.
And it said Elder Scrolls 6, or it just said the next Elder Scrolls installment?
It said Elder Scrolls 6.
But did it have any logos? Any like console logos? No, but like
no console logos.
Right. Okay.
Just active development Elder Scrolls 6, and then active development turned out was no development at all for 3 years.
Yeah. But I mean, like, other than that, there's not been like a formal Elder Scrolls 6.
They were very, very careful with platforms.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Because it was during the end of the PS4 before the PS5 was even announced, so they didn't put any platforms on that trailer.
Right.
So I imagine that they're having these conversations now, and it turns out, there is no Fallout game in development. There's barely an Elder Scrolls game in development right now. So this is the time for them to have these discussions of like, are we going to put the resources in to pop the charts a little bit? Yes, Fallout and Elder Scrolls will sell a lot.
Yes.
On PlayStation platforms, but again, is it enough for them to,
Is the 100,000 copies of sales, or the million sales, or whatever it is, like, I don't even know, is the $5 million software sales worth it, or is it better to your point, to sell 400,000 more consoles? Like, I don't know. Like, that's still a ridiculous.
Yeah,
250,000 consoles.
Yeah, and hope you can get that person in on that platform. You know, like, oh, maybe they'll buy 2 controllers. Something like that. Stuff that they make money off of. And that might be worth the bet. I don't think that means Call of Duty will ever become exclusive, because that's just like a huge it's a juggernaut, but like
Yeah.
Fallout's not really a juggernaut. Elder Scrolls isn't a juggernaut. It seems like it, but in terms of just like
Yeah.
Call of Duty, Minecraft, they're bigger than the gaming industry.
Right.
In
You can't.
certain ways.
You even if Sony bought a majority stake in Epic, like you're not pulling Fortnite only to PlayStation. Like you can't. Like it's too
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
too late. So
There'd be no
um,
reason for you to make it anymore.
I
if you
do
did that.
briefly want to circle back to that Pete Hines thing because I did see some of that, and I don't think we unpacked this, but I don't have sympathy for somebody that said yes to the transaction.
His board said yes, though. He wasn't the owner. Like,
He could have resigned
so-
right when they said yes.
Yeah, no, he basically they gave him the golden parachute.
Yeah, so
and
I'm
he just was
sorry.
like, oh, okay.
Like comparing what Shu's saying to what Pete Hines is saying, I feel a little bit differently for Shu than I do for Pete Hines.
Yeah.
They both
Well, especially
probably,
Pete
they both
Hines-
probably got a bag. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, Shu
Yes,
got
yeah,
paid.
yeah,
So- but
But like for Pete Hines, he was just like, you know what? I couldn't help them anymore. It's like, man, so you took the coward way out. Like
Yeah,
you could
yeah,
have fought
so-
maybe, even though it would have been impossible for him to fight. But it was one of those scenes where he's like, I quit because I couldn't do anything
yeah,
anymore.
he
just
could have stated his case without stating his case. He like I've talked about that fireside chat for GTA. He went on that couch with Phil Spencer and had that conversation, and they're like, "Hey, everything's great. Like, I love it. Yeah, thank you."
Yeah, and
Like,
him talking about like, hey,
Yeah.
like hated every word I said was just
Yeah.
like, you're not making me sympathetic to you.
right. You went. You
Uh,
could have just said, "You know what, Phil, you own you bought it. You talk about it. I'm gonna be over here." But he went on.
Yeah,
he went
you
out
don't
there.
need me. Yeah. Which also could be, company lying to him, being like, "Hey, man, this is gonna be okay," but it sounds
Might
like
have been
he
in his
kinda knew.
contract. It might. Who knows? Like, I mean, like the same thing with the one I'm actually surprised about right now. That's been eerily quiet is Kodak.
Oh, I mean, he's on the Epstein list and stuff,
No,
so he's got
but
other shit
I'm
that he's
removing that
worried
from the
about.
equation. Yeah,
like-
I get it, but I'm just saying, like, in terms of like the stuff that we've learned about Kodak and listening to like Jason Schreier's book and like and all that stuff, like it's like that's the guy like that I would love to.
He's made so much money.
Yeah.
He will never say anything,
I know,
and he
but-
probably doesn't want his name ever in the news. Like, I want a Pete Hines book more like the
Yeah.
Kodak book. I feel like I'd feel dirty after.
Yeah, yeah, I
reading.
know. I
But
know.
I
know.
want the Pete Hines book.
Yeah.
I want the Shuhei book.
Yeah,
Especially Shuhei, if you remember Dave, like we've met him, we talked to him for a little bit.
Yeah.
Super nice guy, but I also heard stories about him being a real fucking hard ass to work with in situations which I could never picture.
what do you mean it
because he was
doesn't
so
jump?
nice.
Fix it, damn it!
Yeah, yeah, just him like apparently like getting like very stern with people, but also just only we met him and he knew who we were, but it was definitely like you guys are PR or
Yeah.
you guys are news
Media.
people, so I'm gonna be super nice.
I'm gonna shake your hand and kiss the
to you.
baby and move on with your life, and I'm gonna go scold
Yeah,
my
yeah,
staff
yeah.
member. I'll be right back. Like,
But like I want a shoe book because he's been revealing himself over the last like year or so of just like things weren't great.
yeah, if he
Like-
he has a very good relationship with the Kind of Funny team. I would love for them to say, hey, we're gonna talk to Shuhei Yoshida for 4 hours, like, and I would just like,
They did 2 hours
I
like
know.
2 years ago, but
Yeah.
it was still under that like
yeah,
I can't say everything, but they need to bring him back.
yep.
I think he did Colin Moriarty's thing, maybe told a little bit more, but I really can't listen to
I
Colin.
don't. Yeah, I don't know if it would ever happen, but a perfect situation
Yeah.
for me would be Moriarty and Miller to interview him for 4 hours. Like, and I don't
Yeah.
care if you simulcast it or whatever the hell you do. Put it on like 2020 or 60 minutes for all I care at this matter. Like, I would watch that.
Yeah, I just need I need both someone PR trained and someone who's
Yeah.
a little bit more abrasive.
Throw
so
Jimmy
then,
Kimmel
like,
in there. Let him be the mediator. I don't know at this point, but
like I don't know who would the perfect person to interview Shu or any of the people that left. But I definitely need.
he
some-
doesn't
No,
have
actually, you need.
he doesn't have enough.
Jason
He doesn't have enough TV presence, but Jason Schreier would be ideal. But he doesn't have
Yeah.
enough TV presence. So let him.
Or no, and Austin Walker, Patrick Klepek, one
Yeah.
of those guys. Someone
Can
who's
Jason
like
Schreier
serious.
behind the curtain and controlling a AI version of somebody else talking to Shu?
Jeff Keighley.
Yes.
So here's a shame. Jeff Keighley used to be able
Jason
to do
Schreier's
like,
so bad
pretty
in front of
good
a
interviews.
camera. Like, he's an amazing writer,
He
but he
kinda
is
is.
so bad in front of the camera. Like,
his podcasts aren't terrible though.
but he's not really.
but definitely-
He's in front of the camera like I'm in front of the camera right now. But I'm talking about him sitting
Yeah.
on a couch, like, or,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
like he's just.
But yeah, no, there's so many things that I want to hear. from a lot of these people. Like I can't wait to hear if Phil Spencer still technically works for Microsoft in
Yeah.
some form, so we probably will never hear from him. But I want
I feel
Sarah
like
Bond.
he's gonna show up at some podcast high as a kite in like 3 years and just go nuts.
Like he already doesn't do that.
Yeah, no, but
Like-
I'm just saying, like, when he's gonna like forget or something like that, or he's gonna have some calendar reminder that tells him July 20th, 2031. I can go ham or something like
Yeah.
that.
But I want like Sarah Bond sounds like she had a very nasty falling
Yeah.
out in terms of like finding out she wasn't going to be the next CEO. So I would love to hear her interview. But she's also young enough that she will probably get big enough jobs
Oh, she's gonna get
elsewhere
her,
that she
at this point in time, like next year, she's gonna be like head of her own studio. Like she's gonna get Haven 2.0
I
or
think
something like that.
she was at a high enough level of Xbox. I see her working for like another big company outside of gaming.
Oh yeah.
You know, kind of like how like
Go work for Spirit Airlines. Oh wait, sorry.
yeah. Did Reggie Fils-Aimé come from like Domino's or something like that? You know, like I could see her like jumping and being like head of Target or something. But yeah, no, there's so many people I need to know, and I feel like we're starting to get people reveal a little bit more information. So hopefully we find out a little bit more about what's going on with PlayStation, what's going on with Xbox. Nintendo just seems like, again, they're in their own world. They give their employees like
They just
pay
chug
raises
through.
and shit.
It's like the engine that could, man. They just keep chugging. Their train just keeps rolling. Sometimes they drop some coal, but they just keep rolling. Like
There was some former Nintendo employees did an interview a couple weeks ago, and basically they were asked like, "Hey, does Nintendo finish games and this not do anything with them for a couple years?" And they're like, "Yeah, all the time. They'll finish a game and then it'll be 2-3 years before they release it." And it's just like,
which means, like, as an example,
that
if
makes
that
sense.
if that Ocarina of Time's coming this holiday, it's probably done. It was done in like 2022, and they're like,
Yeah.
just wait.
no, and apparently that's what they do, where they'll
Yeah.
be like, it's getting kind of dry this summer. What do we do? And then they look in their bag and they're like, oh, we could drop this. It's
Like
done.
that when you used to go to the dentist office as a kid and you open up that little treasure chest. Like there's just like something random. Oh, I still like the spider that looks as a ring that slides on your finger. I'll take that one today. Like,
Yeah, just a little giveaway thing.
yeah.
But yeah, no, it just seems like Nintendo just has things down to where it's like, and that's why sometimes their games are like, man, this game feels old. It's like because they
Yeah.
finished it 2-3 years ago.
You get that.
But
Somebody gives you that ice cream in that plastic container you have to eat with the wood wood tongue dispenser. You're like,
yeah.
what? And then you eat the ice cream. Like, damn, that ice cream was good.
Yeah, basically. You get the gumball and you're like, this is stale. It's like, okay. Yeah, no, but that's Nintendo.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all the news I have. I was gonna put GameStop's trying to buy eBay, and the
Oh.
CEO had one of the worst fucking interviews I've ever seen on TV today. I can't wait to see that go down. I hope eBay does not do it because they will be out of business so fast under GameStop.
I mean, I don't even know. Is eBay still like a? I mean, I don't know. They do okay, I guess, right? I mean, I see TV commercials for 'em, but
eBay is
it's
eBay
like a
is worth
niche
like
store or something. Like,
eBay's worth. I think it's like 5 to 10x what GameStop is worth right now.
so how the
And
hell does
GameStop's trying
GameStop
to
have
buy
the money to buy them?
Oh, Dave. Okay, so GameStop is taking on a $20 billion debt loan from a bank.
Okay, that banker needs to be fired. So,
They are they have another $9 billion in cash from all their meme stocking, and then they are going to use a good chunk of their stock money. They're going to probably like release more stocks to give it, but they're still, according to the numbers, still about 10 to 20 billion short on this offer that they have made for eBay.
okay.
Dave, if you have time today after this podcast, look up the interview the GameStop CEO did this morning, where he tried to look coolish, with a stupid fucking leather jacket, and just refused to answer questions about, because they were just asking him like, hey, where's the money coming from? And then he was like, I don't understand the question. They're like, where is the money coming from? And he was just like, I don't understand the question. Check our website.
There is a GameStop in the complex where my store is, and I swear it's open like 11 to 5. Like
What?
11 a.m. to 5 p.m. Like, and
I'm so annoyed because the CEO of GameStop acts like he's like this like savant businessman, and the only reason GameStop has any money now is
Pokemon.
people got bored during the pandemic and bought stock and
Yeah.
like drove up the
Oh,
price.
those
And
same people
despite-
screwed my former company.
Yes. And but despite GameStop being flush with a shit ton of money,
Yeah.
has still failed to do jack shit.
Yeah. The
with
only
any of
time
that
I see a
money.
line at GameStop is there's like some Pokemon card release. And the only person I feel bad for that I know about it is Owen, my soon to be 11-year-old, who is starting to like Pokemon a little bit, and he's
So sorry about that.
well, it's okay. Like, but he's in a store
Yeah.
and he's like, "Hey, Dad, can I get a pack of Pokemon cards?" I'm like, "Yeah, whatever, that's fine." And then we asked the lady. He went and asked an associate, "Hey, do you have Pokemon cards?" And she kind of almost had to laugh at him. And I'm like,
Yeah, no, because it's a bunch of fat, sweaty resellers being
yeah, and I'm
fucking
like,
assholes.
he doesn't even want like I was like I go, he's just looking for like
He
Pokemon
just wants a
cards.
pack.
Yeah, he doesn't care if it's like a gold pack or this. And she's like, no, I know. She's like, we just ain't got none. She's like, that's the only time. It was like I think it was a Best Buy. She's like, there. He just wants to put them in his binder or whatever. Just say he has them. Like,
Yeah, it's so funny though because the GameStop board basically told the current CEO, like, "Hey, if you can get our revenue up to $100 billion, we'll give you $35 billion." And that is why he's so desperate to buy eBay, because that is the only way he can see getting revenue up to 100 billion is if he acquires a more successful company so he can cash the fuck out. So he's just throwing a gambit
it's like
of
a
like,
human
hey, I'm gonna
being
buy
allergic
eBay,
to
even though
a human being that's allergic to steak but wants to eat the steak to clean out his insides. Like, I don't understand.
yeah. It's baffling that one, that they offered that, two, that he's going to try and buy eBay even though there's apparently $20 billion unaccounted for.
Goldfish
Also,
trying to eat
he
a
can
whale.
cash out. And then for the board, it's just a short-term gain, because if he gets you to 100 billion, he's going to take 35 right away. And what do you do with the company after that? Like, because they already had billions that they've been eating
Yeah.
for no fucking reason, because they continue to close stores. They continue to just like struggle with every new venture they do with GameStop. They really got into NFTs 2 years ago, Dave, and that went nowhere. And it's just baffling. It's stupid. This will probably be the end of GameStop, which I'm like,
the front 2/3 of their store isn't games anymore.
no, it's barely Funko Pop either, though. It's like mostly like just endless clearance of just junk.
Yeah.
Like, it's so.
Don't get me
so-
wrong. I can
so
walk in there and
bizarre.
no one can walk out with a $7 stuffy or something, you know, like,
Yeah.
and he's usually like, "Hey, I got Bowser." I'm like, "Okay, cool, buddy."
Cool. And then you look at the price and then you check online how much it is, and you're like, I paid triple value. Like, I
I
paid
went
triple.
somewhere in Cincinnati. We went down to Cincinnati last week, and I went to some store. I can't remember the name of it, but I got a Voltron Funko Pop, like a good size one too. So like, I was like, it's kind of cool. I'd never seen a Voltron Funko Pop bigger than the other. I don't care that it's Funko Pop. It's just like I thought it was just a cool.
You saw
Voltron
Voltron,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, it was like a cool looking Voltron thing, like bigger than normal Funko Pops. So like those medium size, not the huge Funko
Yeah,
Pops.
I've
but
seen.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was
I've
like
seen
$30
those.
there, and I think I looked on it real quick. eBay, Target had it like 27 or 28. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll pay for it. Like,
Yeah, it's like the size of a 2-liter.
yeah, we did
Right,
get
yeah.
Owen pretty cool. My mom pitched in too, but we got him that Ocarina of Time Lego Zelda set. So that's like 2,500 pieces that eventually, when we clear out a spot in the living room for that, we're gonna build that. Jungle Gyms. The store was called Jungle Gyms in Cincinnati. So it was a mess. Like, the store was not a mess, but it was just chaos. I'm like, my retail brain can't handle this place. It's like,
I mean, that sounds like accurate for a store named Jungle Gym.
yeah,
So
awesome hot
brand,
sauce
Dave,
selection
on
and
brand.
stuff. So
yeah, I went to the flea market and bought random old games. I bought some Atari games, and I showed Josh Langford a picture of the Atari games I got. He was like, "Do you have the Atari?" And I'm like, "Nope." And then he just responded, "I've never bought games for a console I didn't own. Weird." And I'm just like, "Okay, fuck you, Josh."
so go buy an Atari.
Yeah, I was just like, "No, they were in boxes," and I was like, "Fuck it, a box of Atari games for $12? Fuck it." I bought 3.
I don't think
and
I've
I
ever
bought random
really
games.
bought very many games for consoles that I don't own and not to play them.
So they were really clean
no,
boxes.
that's
of
a dig.
Space,
That's a dig at
Space
Josh.
Invaders.
Josh has so
Oh,
much
okay.
stuff sealed. So,
I
like,
text him every once in a while, like once a quarter.
uh-huh.
I text him and I'm like, "Are you trying to sell any of your PlayStation stuff?" And every time he's like, "No," and I know it's in his attic. Like, he just has boxes in his attic.
See,
Boxes
I want to
in his
go.
basement.
Like I've been checking off some lists of some places for, like, I've been going to some baseball games. Like, I want to go to a Phillies game. I don't know if Josh is going to listen to this or not, but I want to go to a Phillies game. and maybe Josh can come with me, and then maybe I can break into his house for you. You know, like
Yeah, you know what? I will go with you to Philly to visit Langford,
Yeah.
and then I will bring an empty suitcase.
Maybe we'll find a Phillies White Sox game to go to or something.
We could.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, Dave, this is something for offline, but you're coming to Chicago.
I am.
The Field Museum is doing a Pokemon exhibit. You should see if you can get Pokemon exhibit tickets for the Field Museum, because Owen would probably love that exhibit.
Yeah. You send Angela, or have your wife send that to Angela, because they communicate more. I feel like they communicate more than you and I communicate.
Potentially, we all our texts are like, recording tonight.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Parking in your city sucks.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
Yeah.
it's because they sold parking to Saudi Arabia and Canada. So
I'm thinking about taking the train.
honestly, it would be like a 2-3 hour train, I think. For
Yeah,
you. It
but
wouldn't be
the cost of
crazy.
the train. I'm trying to run measures here. Like, I'm literally running numbers. Like, I have a diesel truck, which diesel, I get good mileage to the gallon on my truck, miles to the gallon on my truck. I'm not sweating that. But like, looking at some Airbnbs and some hotels and places to stay, and
Flights
I'm
are expensive too.
huh?
Flights are expensive too right
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
It's where you
yeah.
did the short flight.
The only one that would have been expensive completely went belly up.
Yeah.
And disappeared. But like a hotel, I'm like, oh, that's not too bad. It's like $75 a day to park at the hotel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, having a car in Chicago is like
Yeah.
not convenient anymore.
I was
than
like,
it has
I
been
think
convenient
I
for
said
years.
something to Ange. I'm like, I won't stay with Michael. I won't intrude, but maybe I could just park my car in his driveway and then Uber everywhere else. It's like,
Potentially, yeah. I don't have a car in my garage.
right. I don't even need the garage. Like, it's not in the garage here. So
Yeah, honestly,
I
if
need
you
the
go
front of your
away
house, like
from-
the parking spot in front of your house.
the only problem is I'm just far enough away that it'd be inconvenient for you.
Yeah.
Just don't park at the hotel. There's other parking garage where parking's like
No, I
$17
know.
a day.
Like, we're looking at Airbnbs. Sometimes
Yeah.
they have their own driveways, and like we're looking at all this other stuff. But yeah, so. But
Blue
all
line.
right.
Go for whatever's by a blue line train. We're done.
All right. I hope everyone has a great week. Keep moving forward.
Don't be a dick. See ya. All right.
Stream is still up, so. Yeah, I'm taking her to San Francisco too. So. In August.
Save this.
Yeah, we have tickets to the Cubs Tigers game, but we don't have a place to stay yet. So.
Yeah, no, it's and we do not have any guest room set up.
No, I did.
Unfortunately.
That was never like, I'm never gonna impose. I was like, I wonder if I can
Yeah,
just
yeah.
park in his driveway.
Yeah.
All right. So you're watching on the stream. Thank you guys so much. Have a great week.